Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to Cosmic Culture, the channel where we talk about all major movie and television news, theories, breakdowns, and much, much more. I'm Chris, and today we have a ton of the Batman news to break down for you, as there is somebody out there who has a friend who's seen the movie and has talked all about the details that they got. Now, this individual is not a scooper or anybody well known just yet in the industry. However, on Twitter, he does go by the name Blu-ray Angel, and his thread is everywhere. Daniel RPK has retweeted it. 3C Film has done a video covering all of the news so far as well as many other companies retweeting his thread, sharing the information that he's giving out, and it all seems very, very reliable. Now I'm going to throw out a minor spoiler warning. He doesn't give away any huge details. He simply talks about the things that he was told in a very non-descriptive manner. He gives us an idea of what to expect in the film, but if you want to go into the movie knowing absolutely nothing about it, then this might not be the video for you. However, nothing is given away about the movie in this thread, just so you keep that in mind as well. It is a very cool look into the film, and we do get some pretty incredible details. So let's jump into the Batman review that we're getting from this anonymous viewer. If you love to stay up to date on all of the news following these major movie and television news franchises, consider subscribing to the channel and turning on that notification bell so you don't miss any of our major updates as we're posting daily here to the channel. Also, comment down below and let me know how excited you are for the Batman. Personally, I hope we're getting some major updates come DC Fandom, which is just around the corner. Now, this entire thread coming from Blu-ray Angel starts with him saying, "Exclusive. I know someone who has seen the Batman, friend of mine and a really good person. Here's what they told me." Thread. No spoilers. The Batman movie is a horror movie. Very graphic, very dark, very scary. Paul Dano is f***ing crazy. So f***ing scary, I loved every second. The cut they saw of the Batman is 3 hours long. Their thoughts on Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman. I have a million things to say about Catwoman. She's my favorite. Holy, definitely my favorite Catwoman. They then go on to say their thoughts on Robert Pattinson's voice. His voice was perfect in their opinion. And we saw this a little bit in the trailer. Batman was really taken on by Robert Pattinson. I definitely don't think anybody shouldn't be excited for what he does. Then he goes on to talk about the Batmobile, saying, holy, that slayed. So a very helpful review on the Batmobile there as well. But we have seen a lot of images of the Batmobile revealed directly from the director, from the set, and it does look like it's going to be incredible. We have to keep in mind, this is a very early Batman. He's been Batman for 1-2 years, maybe max here. So a lot of his gadgets and tools are going to be a little bit different. This is a modified car, and it's set up for that. So I'm very excited to see how that plays out as well. In his original thread, before he later came back and added a ton of new details as well, he said this, my closing opinion. There's a scene at the end that literally had everyone screaming. Everyone gasped, like it was a big no way for everyone. I don't give up about Batman or DC, and I even clenched onto one knee and was shook. It is the biggest mic drop. He has since come back, like I said, and given a ton of updates, saying, updates, I got more answers. He says, I can officially say the Batman will not kill. My friend said, no, he is against killing. There is a scene where they make that very clear. Matt Reeves is a GOAT. I'm so happy right now. Very excited, obviously, as he's going through and giving these updates. He also drops down and says, Rob's Batman narrates the whole movie. Fight scenes were great, lots of them. The Catwoman ones were my absolute favorite. I was very surprised. Alfred has significant scenes. There's blood, teetering between thriller and horror. And he comes back another time with another update saying, I got this answer. How does Paul Dano compare to Heath Ledger's The Joker? Paul Dano will be playing the Riddler in the film, and we did get a pretty decent first look at him in the trailer that came out during the last DC Fandom. And the response was, Heath was a lunatic in a very extroverted way. The Riddler is very angry at the world for not being loved with too much knowledge. Streams online, locks himself in, plans strategic killings. So it sounds like the comparison is the Joker is a little bit more out there. Heath Ledger's Joker was a lunatic in a very extroverted way. That's the quote. So he's out there. He's blowing stuff up. He's trying to be involved. whereas it looks like Riddler is going to be a little bit more sheltered, a little bit more locked in, a little bit more maniacal and secretive in the way he does things, which fits the description of the Riddler and exactly what we should expect from the character. It sounds like he's a pretty terrifying villain to have added on into the film, and that the way that they portray him here is very, very dark. In this update that we got, he's mentioned 2 separate times that it is pushing on a horror film, a thriller, suspenseful, with a lot of gore and fighting and anger. So I'm kind of excited to actually see that very dark Batman tones. I think that's one of the things that made The Dark Knight such a successful trilogy, whereas other Batman films maybe shy away from some of that gore and some of those dark tones. The Dark Knight, Christian Bale's Batman, really kind of leaned into it, and it sounds like Robert Pattinson and Matt Reeves are going even further in this next rendition of the Batman. He goes on to answer the question, how is the relationship between Bruce and Alfred? He says, their relationship is warm. It's not that Alfred doesn't want Batman to fight, he has a bunch of things that he needs Bruce to do, attend, meetings, etc. Bruce is never home and refuses to show up. He then talks about the comparison between Robert Pattinson to other Batmen, and he says Rob is a great Batman. More relatable than the others previously, I feel like Batman is all about showing off his money, cars, and gadgets, where the director and writer chose to spend their time exploring him as a human and a person with feelings. So this is going to be an interesting comparison to see for ourselves when we finally do get to watch the movie, and that is, how does he stand to other Batman? Batman is one of these superheroes, if not the superhero, who has had the most actors portray him across time. He's been through so many different movies, trilogies, shows, series, sagas, and he really is a fan favorite. So to see him portrayed yet again by another actor in another light gives us another opportunity to dissect the character and to find our own strengths in the character as well. As Batman is a symbol to a lot of different people for different things, as humans do take away from these movies very important moments, characteristics, and try to apply them to their own lives, each Batman brings to us a different opportunity to realize or to visualize ourselves in that character. So I am excited for that as well. That's going to be an opinionated moment, so I appreciate hearing what this guy had to say about it, but everybody's going to have to wait and see for themselves when the movie does relate. He goes on to say, Robert Pattinson Batman is the world's greatest detective. He is so smart. The police hate him, he outsmarts everyone, and Gotham PD literally need him to snatch Riddlers up. He then goes on to talk a little bit about Colin Farrell, saying, are we also not going to talk about how Penguin was Colin Farrell? Like how? I could not tell. It was him, like at all. Incredible. Definitely unrecognizable. He has the iconic ugly nose. They gave him some crazy deep scars across his mouth and upper lip area. Now, I already knew that this was Colin Farrell. I remember when we saw these first leaked images of him as the Penguin, it was a big question, like, wow, is this actually him? But it is exciting to hear that they have gone all out with the makeup for the character, really making him look like Penguin, who does have a very iconic look that hasn't always necessarily been matched just right. But it sounds like with this Penguin specifically, they have done a very good job, and I can't wait to see that for myself on the big screen. And his final update up to now came 7 hours ago, where he says, the movie has a kissing scene. I won't say who, scratch that, kissing scenes, make of that what you will. So definitely a ton of updates coming for us from the Batman. I personally do believe that these are accurate. They have been doing some screenings. The movie has been finished, although reshoots and all sorts of different editing processes still have to take place. There's enough for them to start pre-screening so that they can get an idea of what they need to rate the film and other directions they might need to go in the editing process for changes or to make it more of a success on the big screen. Directors have their vision of what they want to create, but fans ultimately do end up dictating what happens and what gets seen in the final product. Then on top of that, there are so many major media outlets talking about this, or individuals, YouTubers, scoopers, who are bringing this to attention to the big, huge masses of people. That's how I was able to see it, was from Daniel RPK retweeting it and talking about it a little bit. And then, of course, 3C Films talking about it. So many other people picking this up and running with it, and it is what it is. The descriptions are really, really cool to hear, and this movie should have people very excited. I remember when we first heard Robert Pattinson was going to be Batman, there were a ton of people pushing back saying, you mean the guy from Twilight? But we got to keep in mind he's grown a ton as an actor since then. And Twilight was Twilight. He did what he needed to. He's been in a ton of other movies since, including Tenet, where he basically plays Bruce Wayne the whole time. And it's super cool to see, and I'm excited for this Batman. We're also hearing out there that we should be expecting more than one Batman movie coming from Robert Pattinson and Matt Reeves, which by the sounds of it is going to be a requirement, and a very exciting one by that. But let me know what you think of all of these descriptions. What do you take away from them? What do you hope to see? Do you have any concerns based off of what you're hearing here? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. You know my thoughts. I'm super excited for this film. And hopefully we get some new updates at DC Fandom, which is coming just around the corner. Thank you guys so much for watching till the very end of the video. If you found it helpful, useful, or entertaining, consider subscribing to the channel, turning on that notification bell so you don't miss any of our daily updates, and I'll see you all in the next one right here on Cosmic Culture.